Okay, when you're going through the presentation, when you first go in the house, of course, you're gonna knock on the door, then you're gonna go in the house. You always wanna do your warm-up. You guys should know how to do warm-ups. You're professional in home sales people. There is no set time, guys, for a warm-up. I do a minimum of 20 minutes. The first thing I ask for when I walk into that house is a glass of water with 4 cubes of ice. And I tell you why I do it. Number one, I wanna have to piss 2 or 3 times while I'm there. The reason why I wanna have to piss while I'm there 2 or 3 times is I want the customer during the presentation to be able to talk amongst themselves without me in the room. Okay? Because I know what they're thinking. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Before I got there, they're thinking this guy's gonna try to sell us something and we're not gonna buy anything. So the other thing is I ask for a glass of water with 4 cubes of ice. You know why I do that? I wanna see if they follow instructions. 90% of the time they don't say nothing. Sometimes they go, why 4 cubes of ice? I said, well, I got a tooth that's kind of sensitive. You know, I don't want it too cold. And I just kind of laugh at myself when they bring a glass of water with 4 cubes of ice. And I'll continue getting water until I have to go pee, and I do it on purpose. But they're aware, they think I'm gonna try to sell them something. When you do your table speech, it's extremely important that you have that table speech down. If you can get it down word for word verbatim on Thursday, you're gonna get $500. Don't ask me how many times I've given out that $500.
How many?
3 times in 10 years. Okay? I can't even do it word for word verbatim anymore. I can do it 99% there, but even I can't do it. So if you can do it, you get $500. You'll be able to make some money tomorrow too, some bonus money when we're doing the clothes and stuff. But anyways, I don't want to get off track here. As you're going through this, as you're doing those 7 suggestions where you tell them the things they could do, lifestyle changes or products they can buy, you'll start seeing the look on their face. Like, it changes like, oh, okay, this guy's not trying to sell us anything. Because you're telling them the fans, the gaskets, your power strips, your pull pumps. You're telling them all these things they can do to help cut their power bill without trying to sell them anything. When you're doing your walk around, I break this up into 4 different sections. Where it says AC thermostat down to the refrigerator, that takes maybe 5 minutes. Okay? And the very first thing, I'm sure Dale went over this, when you go to the AC thermostat first, you want to turn it down to 65. Did you go over that?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to turn it down to 65 so you can test the air conditioner. And if we'll talk about the Blue Max later. But the outlet covers, I mean, you could, if they don't have them, it takes you 30 seconds to see that. Light bulbs, front door, tell the weather stripping story. You've already talked about weather stripping on your interview sheet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 5 minutes maximum, and hell, 2 or 3 minutes of it is at the air conditioner, explaining to them why you're going to set it at 65 degrees. You want to let it blow for 10, 15 minutes so it can get all the hot air out of their out of the ductwork. And it's supposed to be blowing up between what temperatures, guys?
53 and 55.
Between 52 to 55. Yeah, 52 to 55. Okay, then the next section, where it says attic floor to where it says variable speed pull pump, okay, that's probably about another 10 to 15 minutes. Now the reason why is I'm going to spend at least 5 minutes up on the ladder in the attic. And when I'm up on the ladder, I'm talking about the insulation, the blown-in insulation. I'm talking about the radiant barrier. I'm talking about the attic ventilation. When I get out to the garage, for right now, guys, where it says hybrid, cross that out. And where it says variable speed pull pump, cross that out. Where it says photovoltaics, cross that out. We'll talk about that stuff tomorrow. Obviously, you're not going to talk about a hybrid water heater unless a solar water heater doesn't make sense, which you will learn tomorrow, okay? You're never going to talk about photovoltaics unless that's the only thing that you can sell, and I'll talk about that tomorrow when you bring that up. So we have 3 different packages. We have a bronze package, which is the solar domestic hot water solar system with a fan. Then we have a attic package, which we call the silver package, which is the radiant barrier, the insulation, and a fan. And then we have a gold package, it's a combination of those 3, which are the only products that really I want to talk about today. Okay? So you got your insulation, you got your radiant barrier, you got your attic ventilation, and you got your solar system. So I spent about 5 minutes on the ladder going up, talking about radiant barrier, talking about attic ventilation, presentation, talking about blown in, and I'm sure you went over this yesterday, why that's important, but don't ever go into the attic, because you can fall through it. I've done it twice. I fall through 2 attics and it fucking hurts. I broke this wrist, snapped in half 3 years ago, because I went 14 feet through the lady's attic and landed on her coffee table, and this wrist broke in half. So I mean, yeah, don't go up there, but go up to the attic, use your flashlight. All right, then when I go out to the water heater, I'm out there probably another 5-7 minutes explaining the difference between a water heater and a solar water heater. But I'm not telling them we sell that stuff. So when you get back to the table, when you're doing your physical walk around, you're going, I'm gonna have to fail you on that. I'm gonna have to fail you on that. I'm gonna pass you on that. There's a psychology in all that. Then you get back to the table, and that's where you should do this little drawing, but only take up about 1/3 of this piece of paper to do that drawing, because you're gonna use the rest of it for another drawing. Okay, which you'll learn this afternoon. All right. Then, so you got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 15, maybe about 3 or 4 minutes there. Then you're gonna come back and do your pass and fail, where you're gonna add up how much each one of those things cost them. So this whole thing, when I refer to the walk around, I'm not referring just to this part, I'm referring to the whole thing. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 different sections. So this is a section right here. You wanna use about 1/3 of the sheet, okay? So you got one section here, so you're anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes total, and you're about 3 minutes back here, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Then you're gonna do these sections right here. This is section number 4. That's gonna take you about another 10 minutes. So when I say the whole walk around, I'm talking about the entire thing. It's 30 minutes, okay? So before you ever open the book, which is what we're going to do today, I don't care if you spend 45 minutes on a fucking warm-up. I don't care. There's no such thing as too long of a warm-up. There's such thing as too short of a warm-up, but there's no such thing as too long of a warm-up. I spend at least 20 minutes on a warm-up. I want to find out everything about this customer before I ever start talking. So I knock on the door, go in the house, how you folks doing? And then very first thing, did it make it clear the reason why I stopped by? I don't care if they say yes or no, I go right into table speech. Well, let me just tell you real quick. First of all, I'm not in the sales department, okay? I'm in advertising promotions. My job is real simple. My job is to find 4 or 5 homes within every city, within every zip code that can qualify for our advertising program. Generally, if you qualify for our advertising program, we can save you 30 to 50% off your power bill without affecting your budget or taking any money out of your pocket whatsoever. That being said, Bob and Mary, not everybody qualifies for the program. There's several things that have to happen. Number 1, you have to have the need. That's the reason why for my energy analysis. If you don't have the need, I have to pack up and go. Okay. Number 2, you have to have a high enough bill. Now, they told me on the phone your bill's about $100 a month. That sound about right? Okay, great. Anything over $100 a month is considered extremely high by government standards. Number 3, you have to have a job and or pay taxes. You have a job or pay taxes? Great, fantastic. And number 4, you have to agree to the advertising program. Generally, like I said, if all those things happen, we can save you anywhere from 30 to 50% of your power bill without affecting your budget or taking any money out of your pocket. Sound fair enough? But it has to come out smoothly, okay? It has to sound like you're just talking to them. Guys, 70% of your sales because I like you. Think about this. When's the last time you bought something from somebody you didn't like? Or meaning that you didn't like?
Never.
It's never happened. You'll go down the fucking street and pay more money.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a known fact. I'm not just throwing, these are not John LaMera numbers. These are numbers, studies that UCLA has done. 70% of the reason why you're going to make a sale today to anybody on anything is because they like you. Because if they don't like you, guess the very first thing they're not going to do? They're not going to listen to you. Okay? So 70% is because they like you. 15% is because they understand you. You got to say something they're going to understand. Well, guess what? If they don't like you, they're not going to listen. So 70% like you, 15% understand you. Then you have to say it with confidence, conviction, tonality. You are filming all this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you have to say it with confidence, conviction, tonality, body expressions, facial expressions. All those things are important. Okay? Those are skills that I shouldn't have to teach you guys. You should know those skills already. Right? So then that's 10%, and 5% is trust you. So it's 70, 15, 10, and 5. And if you're aware of those things, then it doesn't matter how long you spend on the warm-up. Because I know 74% of my sales were enough that customer likes me. Most
Great.
important thing is relax, have a good time, be yourself, and there's no such thing as warm-ups too long. Sometimes I spend a minimum 20 minutes. Sometimes I'll go on talking 45 minutes, an hour, and I go, oh shit, I better get going here. It doesn't matter, guys. Okay, but once you start that presentation, do not try to sell. The 7 things that you should circle that are our suggestions is number 7 is one where you're going to talk about your weather stripping. Then the seating fans is another one. You're talking about the 2 different things on a seating fan, how it makes the air circulate faster, turns off your air conditioner quicker, therefore saving you money.
Yeah.
And also makes you feel like it's a wind chill factor, it's cooler, 2 degrees temperature cooler. And the first thing is your warm-up. Your warm-up's gonna buy your personality, how much they like you. Talk about yourself, talk about them, talk about yourself, it's okay, all right? Then that's gonna buy you the next time. That's gonna buy you the next 15, 20 minutes. And then you're gonna see the look on their face going, wow, he's making all these suggestions and telling me all these things I can do to help cut my power bill. He hasn't tried to sell me anything. Then when you do the walk around, you're telling them all the things that they can do and products they can buy, and then you tell them where you can go buy it. Boy, if you can get insulation at Lowe's, you know you can get it on sale. If it's on sale, you get a really good contractor to do it. It usually runs about $250 a square foot. You know, if you get a really good radiant barrier, you get it from a really good contractor. You get the real good stuff. Runs about $4 a square foot. If you get you a really good contractor and a really good solar system, they run about $13,000. You can't let them ever believe that you're trying to sell them anything. You know, Bob Mary, this whole package runs about $30,000. No one says you have to do it all the time, all at once. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, but make sure you get a good contractor and you get a good product. And they're looking, what the fuck, this guy's not trying to sell me nothing. You start saying, we have this, wait, you're gonna get fucking thrown out. Okay? Follow the script. Knock on the door, you step back from the door 2 feet. Alright? As soon as they answer the door, I just walk, hi, I'm John with Green Solutions Florida. I put my head down, wipe my feet, walk right in. Don't go out there and wear a mask. Okay? Unless the customer asks you, and usually they're not gonna ask you. Anyways, knock on the door, never ring the doorbell. Why? Because friends knock, strangers ring doorbells. As soon as I open the door, I'll walk right in. If they give me any shit, remember this, when you get the leads text to you, you're going to get text, your first lead text you the night before. You're going to get the customer's names, the address, the city. You're going to get who set the appointment, the Mr. or Mrs. It's going to say Mr. or Mrs. It'll say single or married. You'll get the square footage of the house, which you need the square footage for some products that we sell. You need to know what the square footage is. You're going to get the value of the house. Always be aware that if the lead was set with the Mr. or it was set with the Mrs., assume the other one doesn't know about the appointment. Just assume that, okay? Every single lead that I go to, here's what I'm thinking on the way there. I'm telling you what I'm thinking. Number 1, I'm thinking, I hope they're fucking home, okay? Number 2, I know that they've made that pact. I know that they think I'm coming to sell them something, and the more I try to sell, the worse it's going to be for me. The third thing I know is they're not interested. And they're not interested, why? Because if they knew everything that you guys are going to learn this week, they'd already have this stuff. So the more they're not interested, don't let that screw your head up. It's okay. What are we there to do? We're there to educate them so they become interested. We educate them on everything without trying to sell them. Allow the customer to buy it from you. This program has so much psychology in it. It's so well thought out. I know because I made it. Okay? That at the very end, the customer will tell you, I want to buy. But, and literally, they're going to tell you that. Okay? But if you try to sell it, you're never going to get through to the very end. They're going to stop you. They're going to go see. You can see the look on their face. You're going to see the look. If you try to sell, these sumbitches are exactly like that vacuum cleaner guy and the water treatment guy and all them other sumbitches that come here. They lie to you to get in the house. But if you do exactly what I teach you, you're going to see them just relax. All right. So, Bob and Mary, before I get started here, I just want you to be aware of something. Energy equals money, and it's your money. Now, what I'm going to do for you folks right now is I'm going to go up and do the energy review that we told you about. I'm going to be checking your attic entrance for any kind of leaks. I'll check your attic insulation. Now, I think I told you earlier, Bob Mary, back before 2012, this is what the United States government suggested you should have insulation depending on where you lived in the country. Here in Florida, in the area that we're at, which is Region 2, they suggested R30 to R60 insulation. Ever since 2012, it's a law. You must have R38 insulation, which is 12.5 inches of insulation. It is a law. Right, Obama passed that law. Now, they can't make you do it right now. So what they do is when you sell the house, when you have a home inspection, if you do not have 12.5 inches, you're going to have to do it. Obama also passed a law in 2012 that he made it illegal to manufacture incandescent bulbs. So it wasn't illegal to possess them. It wasn't illegal to own them. It wasn't illegal to sell them. But it was illegal to manufacture. So what a lot of those big companies did, especially in China, they manufactured 10 years worth so they could sell them, but no longer you're going to see those out there. Matter of fact, the big thing now is LED, but most people buy the energy efficient bulbs. So anyways, you must have that all in the United States now. It's a law that you have it everywhere. I'll be checking your air duct insulation, okay, to make sure that it's not become untaped anywhere or anything like that. I'll be checking your attic ventilation to see what your soffit vents, if those are blocked at all, or your hood line vents or your ridge line vents. Make sure there's no blockage there. Check, like I said, the soffit vents. I'll be checking your exterior doors and windows to make sure you don't have any leaks or anything there. And you told me you've never replaced those. And like I said, it's really no big deal. I mean, people that have replaced them, if you replaced them because you want nicer windows, and that's fine. But if you replace them for energy efficiency, it really doesn't really do much for you there. Only 12% of your heat loss and gain goes through windows. I already checked your outlets. Like I said, you didn't have any of the gaskets. It's a really good idea if you do get those gaskets. Like I told you earlier when I was doing the interview for you, you can get a whole packet of gaskets for 25 of them for like $5. Just take that one screw off, put the gasket on, put the plate back on. It's only 1% of your heat loss and gain, but I think you told me your bill was like $200 a month. Still doing $20 a year. Okay. I'll also be checking your thermostat. We're going to set it down to 65 degrees, like I told you. Make sure that your thermostat is working properly. Make sure if you have a thermostat, it's programmable, that it is set. Okay. I'll be checking your air conditioner to make sure it's working properly. Checking your light bulbs, and do your refrigerator settings, okay, to make sure that it's 5 degrees there and 40 degrees there. So what happens, guys, is you do your interview, and then before you get up to do the walk around, you're going to do these 12 pages. Did you do that yesterday? Okay. I just wanted to go over this to make sure you guys did that. Okay, once you did your interview, and then you did the 12 pages, then you come back and do the entire walk around for purposes of training. I call the whole thing the walk around. Then once you're done with that, the presentation starts. And it starts again with this same page so you know where it breaks up. So the first section is going to be the energy crisis. I believe it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. And it's going to take me probably about 8 minutes is what I think it takes. You can go ahead and time me if you want to, Dale. All right, again, Bob and Mary, energy equals money, and it's your money. Here's the facts. With only 5% of the world's population, Americans consume 26% of the world's energy. You know, Bob Mary, it's a known fact there's 7 billion people on the planet. 340 million Americans, which is basically only 5%. But we're using 26% of the world's energy. I mean, if you were the rest of the world, how much longer do you think they're going to let us get away with that? You know, here's another known fact. In the past, oil would net 20 units of energy for every unit of energy spent to refine, extract, and refine it. Today, oil only nets 8 units of energy for every 1 unit. Okay, let's change that word unit to dollars. It'll make more sense to you. So what they're saying here is back in the day that you would invest $1 and make 20. $1 and make 8. In the very near future, oil will only net 1 unit of energy for every unit of energy spent to recover it. Now, people say, well, you know, we're energy independent, all this stuff now. We have plenty of oil. True, that's a true statement and a non-true statement. They did find a 100-year supply under Northwest America. Colorado, Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, Idaho, everywhere except from the west coast, as far as Oregon, Washington, California, that whole region, they found a 100-year supply. Yes, they did, of shale oil, but it's costing $1.10 to bring out the dollar. But I guess it's cheaper than going to war. Okay? I don't care what anybody says, Bob and Mary. The last 3 wars we've been into were over oil. I don't care what anybody says. Hey, Afghanistan, they took down our buildings, they killed our people, bombed the caves. But Iraq and all them other places were not necessary, in my opinion. Just my opinion. You know, the point which half of the fossil fuels worlds were available and will be consumed, Dr. King Hubbard's peak oil theory. Dr. Hubbard projected oil would peak worldwide in 2010. The U.S. peaked in 1970, and Americans soon found themselves held by hostage by OPEC in oil embargoes. In the 1970s, there were 85 oil-producing nations in the world, and America began importing from these nations to meet our energy demands. There are now only 11 oil-producing nations left in the world, and demand for oil now is higher than ever. Subsequently, the number of oil-producing nations will dwindle from 11 to 10 to 9 to etc. until there will only be one exporter left worldwide. The last 3 nations remaining to have oil are as following: Iran, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. I don't think I need to say anything more about that. You know, Bob Mayer, I'm probably old enough to remember this. Maybe you folks do. I remember back in the 1970s when there was gas lines. I mean, you could only get gas if you had an odd plate or an even plate. It was the only time you could get gas. And so it was every other day, and you still had to wait in line for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I remember sitting in my mom and dad's 1972 Lincoln Brougham, not Lincoln, it was an LTD Ford Brougham, big, huge boat car. And we'd be in those lines wrapped around the corner for 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes. You know, the pessimists say we're going to run out of oil in 2020. The optimists say 2050. I don't know which one's right, but I know this: we're running out. Wouldn't you agree, Bob and Mary? Okay. Our growing demand for energy is fed by foreign oil, and the U.S. currently imports over 10 billions of oils each day. In exchange, we import billions of dollars overseas. Now, let's think about this. We send over barrels of money. They send over barrels of oil. We buy SUVs. They buy bombs and bullets. Doesn't make any sense. You know, think about this, Bob Mary. When's the last time you seen a movie that was being filmed in China where they had SUVs? Doesn't happen. You know why? A gallon of gas in China is $14 a gallon. That's why you see Chinese people going, little mopeds, because gas is $14. England. When's the last time you seen a movie on TV where it was being filmed in England and you saw an SUV? Doesn't happen. Because you know how much a gallon of gas is in England? $9 a gallon. I just got back from Costa Rica. Everybody's got real small cars up there. Everybody's got stick shifts. I had to request an automatic. They have to bring it from out of town to even have an automatic because they use more gas. Gas in Costa Rica, $8 a gallon. And yet me and you pull up to the pump and we're upset about $2.50 a gallon. You know, listen, there are 2 things you're not supposed to talk about, right? Politics and religion. But ever since Biden's been in office, and he's been in office 26 days now, gas has gone up 74 cents. It's supposed to hit $4 a gallon by the end of the year. He pulled us out of the Paris Accord. Your electric bills are going to go up 20% this year. That's not me saying it. That's the experts. Cut off the pipeline. All these things are going to make prices go up. Okay? Almost 90% of our energy comes from burning fossil fuels. Fuel prices have soared to levels never seen before in history. Only 7% of our energy comes from solar, wind, or geothermal. 84% from burning fossil fuels. Our environment has suffered dramatically through our extensive use of these fossil fuels. The evidence is damaging everywhere. You know, Bob Mayer, I'm not talking about global warming. I'm talking about pollution. You know, there isn't a day that goes by that you don't hear something about how we're damaging the environment, whether it be radio, TV, or newspaper. Future generations are counting us to act responsible with the earth they're going to inherit tomorrow. Well, Mary, I don't know if you're anything like me. Listen, when I was in my 20s and 30s, it was all about me. I had my son when I was 27 years old,
And as I get older, I don't really care about myself anymore. And I'll be 60 this year. But you can't sit here and tell me you don't care about your kids and your grandkids. We're responsible to make sure that we leave it in a better place than we found it. And if you're anything like me, I want to make sure that my son had a better education than me. I want to make sure that my son had a better life than me. We want better things for our children, don't we? Don't we owe it to them to leave them better earth than the way we found it? Wouldn't you agree, Bob Mary? You know, Israel went solar in 1961. That's a great year I was born, by the way. But if you look at them, every single house has a solar hot water heater on it. In the 1960s. You want to know why? All the oil in the world surrounds Israel, but they can't stand them. They hate them. So they won't sell it to them at any price. So everybody went solar in 1961. Hawaii. Hawaii has become the first state to require solar water heaters in new homes. The bill was signed into law by Governor Linda Lingle in 2010. It's a law. You must have solar in Hawaii. California passed the law in 2012. If you build a new house, you must have solar. Parkland, Florida, right down the road, 2014. It's a law. You must have solar. Let me ask you this question, Bob Mary. What does Hawaii, California, and Florida have in common? Exactly, sunshine states. Let me ask you this question. When they make it a law that you must have solar, do you think the prices of solar products are going to be higher or lower? Exactly. So let me ask you this question, Bob Mary. When do you think the best time that is to get solar? When they make it a law and you have to do it, or when they don't make it a law and you don't have to do it?
Immediately.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Done. But here's the way you study. Take it section by section. In other words, when you go home this weekend, you're going to table speech. Let me get that thing down. Let me get the interview down. Let me get the walk around down. Don't go to the next section of the whole presentation, which is your timeline. Don't try to learn all this stuff at once. Just do one section at a time. And that's the reason why I'm going to give you your notes by section so you can study that section. When you get to the energy crisis, it's 8 minutes. Make sure you get all those stories down. Voice inflection, facial expressions, body language, all those things are extremely important. I'll show you the difference. I'll show you how to get thrown out of a house. Bob and Mary, these are the facts. With 5% of the world's populations, Americans consume 26% of the world's energy. You know, there's 350 million Americans in the United States, and there's 7 billion people on the planet. But yet we're using 20, you're fucking gone.
Yeah.
You're fucking gone. They'd rather have a hysterectomy and a fucking root canal than talk to you guys. You're gone. Put them to sleep. Okay? You gotta use, remember the green light's on. It's time to act now. It's time to showtime, exactly. It's showtime. You know, I tell people, what you're gonna find out is you're gonna be out there in the field 50, 60 hours a week. But you're only gonna be really working about 15 to 20 in somebody's house. You know, when I'm driving to an appointment, am I at work? I guess yes, but I'm not really at work. I'm not at work until I get in a freaking house, okay? But when you get in that house, it's time to fucking put on the show. You know, Bob Mary, with 5% of the work, look at my facial expressions, my body language, my tonality, all those things are expensive. If I look at you, it's Neil, right? Greg. What is it? Graham. Who's Neil? Okay. So if I'll do it to Graham since he doesn't smile too much. If I look at Graham and I say, Graham, fuck you. Did that mean anything? Fuck you. Okay. Same words, different tonality, different facial expression, different body language. It's very, very important. So when I'm going through this, I'm doing it the way they want it delivered. You have to put that tonality, those facial expressions, you have to put all those things into your presentation. I was taught if you want to do a $20,000 sale, you better do a $40,000 presentation. You want to make a $10,000 sale, you better do a $20,000 presentation. You can't sell anything to anybody unless the price is here and the value is here. If the price and value are even, they won't buy. They have to see everything as the value is up here and the price is here. And the value comes from your believability, the look on your face. They're testing you to see how much you believe in what you're saying. So if you go in there bored, non-enthusiastic, no facial expressions, with your shoulders down and your chest sunken in, and you got that look on your face like somebody just ran over your fucking dog, you ain't gonna get shit. Be aware of all that stuff. If you had a no-show before this, or a one leg, or you've been driving for 3 hours and you haven't been to somebody's house, you gotta forget all about that stuff in that next lead. Because you never know when that next lead's gonna turn into a sale. And you gotta deliver it the way I'm teaching you. Are you gonna be able to do that tomorrow? No. Are you gonna be able to do it this weekend? No. But that's why you have to continually watch the videos, continue to practice. This is a profession, guys. You have to become a professional salesperson without that customer knowing that you're a salesperson. It's a total takeaway. So now we're gonna go back and you guys can go ahead and take notes. So take out a clean piece of paper, title it Energy Crisis, 9 pages. Okay, page 1, the 5% page. The only thing I ad-libbed right here was that there's 340 million Americans. There's 7 billion people on the planet. So make sure to tell that story. How much longer is the rest of the world? How much longer do you think the rest of the world's going to let us get away with that? 340 million Americans, 7 billion people on the planet. We're using 26%. How much longer do you think the rest of the world's going to let us get away with that? Page 2. I started just reading. All I did was read it. In the past, oil would net 20 units of energy for every unit of one energy spent to find, extract, and refine it. Today, oil only nets 8 units. I got about halfway through it, then I stopped. I said, Bob and Mary, let's change that word units into dollars. What they're saying here is, back in the day, you invested $1 to make 20. That's a great investment, isn't it, Bob and Mary? Now they're saying $1 gets you $8, less than half. In the very near future, oil will net only 1 unit of energy for every 1 unit of energy spent to refine and extract it. And then you've got to tell the Shell oil story. Why is that important? Because you're going to get people that believe that we're energy independent now. And in a way, we are. We were when Trump was in office. Now Biden's kind of messed that all up. But they're still importing oil, and this is still happening. What you got to tell the Shell oil story, the reason why is, did they find a 100-year supply? Absolutely. But the government is subsidizing it, guys. It's costing $1.10 to bring out $1. Tell me this, and this is something you got to get across. The energy crisis is one of the most important parts of your presentation. I tell you why. If you don't believe, if they don't believe it's a problem, why do anything about it? Okay? It's like right now. You guys are probably starting to get a little bit hungry, right? If I waited until 3 o'clock, you're like, when's this motherfucker going to take his lunch? I'm fucking starving. And if at 3 o'clock I said, well, you buy half and I'll pay half, you'd be down, right? I'm going to take you to lunch here in about 15 minutes. We're all going to eat. We're going to get full. If John walks in here, you guys, have they met John yet, Rivera?
Just briefly.
Okay. So my partner, if he walks in with 3 pizzas after we get back from lunch, says, you guys can have these pizzas for $5 a piece, none of us are going to pull out money. Why? We're not hungry. You don't have a problem. But if at 2:30 he walks in here and I hadn't taken you to lunch yet, so you guys can have these pizzas for $15 a piece, we're all going to go, fuck, because we're hungry, okay? The energy crisis is the part of the presentation where there's the need. People buy for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. Need or greed. It's the only reason people buy. Anybody tells you anything different, you tell them John Lemire said they're full of shit. People buy for 2 reasons only, need or greed. This right here is going to be the need part. If they don't see that prices are going up, there's no need. The close, we're going to hit their greed button. We're going to hit both. When a rep starts shortening the presentation, right here is where they shorten it. They start skipping the energy crisis. Can't do it. Okay. So anyways, page 2 is where you tell your Shell oil story. Shell. You guys know I'm saying Shell. S-H-E-L-L. Shell. Page 3, all I did was read it. I read the whole thing, and then the only thing I ad-lib right here is when I tell the 1970s gas line story. 1970s, they only gave you gas on odd or even days, depending on your license plate. You had to wait in line for 2 hours. That's the only thing I ad-libbed right there. This page right here, page 4, I read it. Then I said to the customer, in exchange, we send over billions of dollars. So basically, here's what happens, Bob and Mary. We send over barrels of money. They send over barrels of oil. We buy SUVs, they buy bombs and bullets. Okay? And then right there is when I tell the story of how much gas is everywhere else in the world. So if you were taking notes properly, you should put bombs and bullets story, because you'll see it in my video. And then tell the China story. Gas in China is $14 a gallon. Tell the England story. England's $9 a gallon. And I always tell them, when's the last time you've seen a movie filmed in China where there was an SUV? When's the last time you've seen a movie filmed in England where there was an SUV? And I tell my personal story because I just got back from Costa Rica, and gas over there is $8 a gallon. Everybody has small cars. I had to request an automatic because everybody drives stick shifts because they use less gas. And that's how bad it is, guys. So, how much longer do you think the world's going to let us get away with that? Here's something that people don't know. There's only 4 refineries in the world. You see all these different gas stations. It's all bullshit, guys. Gas is all the same. But what's the difference between Shell and Chevron and Wawa and BT and all these? All they do is they put their additives in it so they can private label it. It comes from the same place. There's only 4 refineries. And that's when if I was out presenting right now is when I would tell my story. Biden's only been in office for 26 days and gas has gone up 74 cents already. All I did was read this, and then at the end I ad-libbed it. I say, the pessimists say that we're going to run out of oil in 2030. The optimists say 2050. I don't know if either one of those numbers are right, but what I can tell you is we're running out. Wouldn't you agree, Bob and Mary? Page 6. Our environment has suffered dramatically from the extensive use of fossil fuels. The evidence is damage everywhere. Bob, Mary, there isn't a day that goes by that you don't hear something on the radio, TV, or newspaper about how we're damaging the environment. Say it and shut up. Don't get into global warming and all that shit. I can be honest with you guys, years ago, I used to think that we were causing global warming. The more research I do, the more educated I get on the subject. It's been happening for a fucking million years. Just like the North and South Pole reverse. This shit happens. Ice ages and all that shit is all coming back. It's just evolution. It's just time. We're not causing the shit. Huh?
So the Earth's gonna Earth.
Yeah, the Earth, the Mother Earth is gonna do whatever she wants to fucking do. We're just here buying time. So page 7. That's why I said the future generations are counting us to act responsible with the Earth they'll inherit tomorrow. So what you'll find out as your kids get older, the more and more as you get older, you start saying, I don't give a shit about me anymore. Your life becomes your kids, and then your life becomes your grandkids. And you'll see what I'm talking about as you get older. And when you bring that subject up right here, Bob, Mary, you can say whatever you want to say about yourself and the Earth and stuff, but I know you care about your kids. And I know you care about your grandkids. Don't they deserve it, Bob and Mary? Don't they deserve us to leave this planet better? You can't tell me that when you started raising your kids, the first thing you thought of is that you want them to have a better life than you, didn't you? You gotta hit home, buddy. You gotta get home. Am I lying to them? I'm telling them the truth. It's the truth. The truth always works. Page 8. Okay, tell the Israel story. 1961. Look at those houses, Bob and Mary. Every single one of those houses have solar system on it for heating the hot water. Why? There was plenty of oil back in the 1960s. Do you know why, Bob and Mary? Because all the world's oil is surrounding them. All those countries hate them, can't stand them. So they won't sell it to them at any price. Page 9. Look at this, Bob and Mary. 2010. And I just read it up. I don't go over to the part where it says Republican. Just read it where it says Hawaii has become the first state to require solar water heaters in new homes. The bill was signed into law by Governor Linda Lingle in 2010. I don't read it on because it says she's a Republican. I don't want to get into Republican Democrat when I'm in the House. I say, they made it a law. You have to have solar. Then you tell the California story. California made it the law in 2012. You have to have solar. Parkland, Florida. So like right now, all you should be writing is California 2012, Parkland, Florida 2014. Tell story. Hawaii 2010, California 2012, Parkland, Florida 2014. That's all you needed to write on that page. Okay. Then there's going to be 3 transition questions right here. Once I tell those stories, then watch the 3 transition questions. Bob, Mary, let me ask you a question. And again, just all you got to do right now is put 3 transition questions. You'll see them on the videos. Okay, 3 transition questions. Number 1, Bob, Mary, let me ask you a question. When they make it a law that you have to have solar, do you think the prices are going to be higher or lower for solar? All right, let me ask you this question, Bob and Mary. What do those 3 states have in common? Hawaii, California, and Florida.
A lot of sun.
So let me ask you this question. When do you think the best time to get solar? When they make you have it and it's a law, or when it's not? When do you think the best time?